Sa fingerprint pattern. Fingerprint pattern, a fingerprint is a reproduction on smooth surfaces of the pattern or design formed by the ridges on the inside of the end joint of a finger or thumb. So, yan na yung halimbawa ng mga fingerprint pattern. Merong arc, may loop, and a whorl. Fingerprint patterns are classified into three general groups. Yung arc is 5% lang yung population niya, loop 60%, and whorl is a 35%. Each group has distinct characteristics and is further divided into subtypes. Yung mga subtypes naman nila, eto, sa arc family, merong plain arc and a tented arc. So, eto is a plain arc. So, plain arc siya. Eto naman is a tented arc. And sa loop family, merong radial loop and ulnar loop. Whorl family naman, meron tayong plain whorl, central pocket loop whorl, double loop whorl, at yung accidental whorl. So, yan yung mga fingerprint pattern and yung mga subgroup nila o subtype nila. So, tatlo lang yung fingerprint pattern, arc, loops, and whorl, and may mga subtypes or subgroups lang sila. Ngayon, isa-isahin na natin kung ano yung mga fingerprint pattern. So, first, unahin natin yung arc. Yung arc pattern at saka yung mga characteristics nila o characteristics niya. So, kapag arc pattern, wala daw siyang core, wala din daw delta, hindi applicable yung ridge counting, at hindi rin applicable yung ridge tracing sa arc pattern. So, tandaan nyo, yung characteristics ng arc is no core, no delta, hindi applicable yung ridge counting, and hindi applicable yung ridge tracing. So, sa arc pattern, meron silang subgroup, dalawang subgroup. Yung una is si plain arc. Si plain arc, a pattern in which the ridges flow from one side to another without recurving, usually having a slight upward curve in the center, making the pattern like an arc. Oh, yan. Yan yung itsura niya. So, as you can see sa image, so sabi sa definition, yung ridge daw nag-flow from one side to other without recurving. So, eto siya. Ridge nag-flow from one side to other side without recurving. So, hindi siya nag-recurve o having a slight upward curve. So, slight lang yung curve niya. Yan. And making pattern like an arc. So, yung pattern niya is arc. Next is a tented arc. A pattern where one or more ridges at the center form an upthrust or make a sufficient rise, giving the pattern of a tent, giving an angle of 90 degrees or less. So, yung kaibahan ni plain arc at ni tented arc, si tented arc ay mas mataas yung upthrust niya. Oh, yan. Mataas yung upthrust ng tented arc. Kasi nakalagay sa definition, one or more ridges at the center form an upthrust or make a sufficient rise, giving the pattern of a tent. Oh, yan. Ito, mataas din yung upthrust niya. And giving an angle of 90 degree or less. Okay, tapos na tayo sa arc pattern at yung sa characteristics niya. So, mas madali lang ma-identify yung arc pattern kaysa sa loop and sa whorl. Next, loop patterns at yung characteristics niya. Loop pattern daw ay dapat may isang delta, may isang core, and it must have a recurving ridge that passes between the delta and the core or yung tinatawag na sufficient recurve. Ito yung sufficient recurve. And dapat daw, it must have a ridge count at least 1. Yung ridge count ay galing sa mga ridges na tinamaan ng imaginary line. So, yung imaginary line from the core going to delta. So, yung mga ridges na tinamaan ng imaginary line, bibilangin at kung ilan yung tinamaan ng imaginary line ng mga ridges, yan yung ridge count. So, ridge counting is applicable sa loop pattern. Yung ridge tracing is not applicable sa loop pattern kasi yung ridge tracing is applicable only for the whorl pattern. First, sa loop pattern, i-identify natin yung delta formation. Delta, this is a focal point on the ridge formation or directly in front or near the center of the divergence of the type lines. So, siya daw yung focal point na pinakamalapit doon sa divergence at sa type lines. It can be found in the following. First, ridge that form at the divergence of the type lines. So, yung ridges na nabuo sa harap ng type lines or divergence is tatlo. Etong dot, etong long ridge. Yan, dalawang long ridge. So, kung sino daw yung pinakaunang nabuo sa type line, sa harap ng divergence, siya daw yung magiging delta. So, therefore, yung dot yung magiging delta natin kasi siya yung pinakaunang nabuo sa harap ng type lines. Letter B, first ridge that forms in front or center of the divergence of the type lines. So, sino daw yung pinakaunang ridge na nabuo sa center ng type lines ay siya yung magiging delta. And letter C, first ridge that forms to the nearest the divergence of the type line. So, kung sino daw yung pinakaunang ridges na nabuo na pinakamalapit sa type line, siya daw yung magiging delta. Halimbawa, wala yung dot, wala din itong long ridge. So, yung magiging delta is eto siya. Yan yung magiging delta. Kung walang dot at itong long ridge. Kasi eto yung pinakamalapit at unang nabuo at pinaka-nearest sa type lines or a divergence. Siya yung magiging delta. Next is yung 6 delta formation. Ito lang yung mga ridge na pwedeng maging delta. First is a bifurcation. So, kailangan priority yung bifurcation na magiging delta kapag siya yung nasa type lines or divergence. Number 2, an ending ridge. Ito yung ending ridge, yung katapusan ng ridge. A short ridge. Ito, short ridge. That, nasa center ng divergence. And number 5, meeting of two ridges. Ito, yung meeting of two ridges, nag-meet sila at nakabuo ng angular formation. So, dito yung magiging delta. At yung recurving ridge. So, etong recurving ridge, pwede siyang maging delta. So, dito yung position ng delta. Okay? Alam nyo na kung ano yung mga possible ridges na gawin yung delta. So, ngayon naman, pupunta tayo sa rules in locating the delta. Unang rule, the delta may not be located at a bifurcation which does not open towards the core. So, dapat, kung may bifurcation sa type lines, kung malapit sa type lines, kailangan nakaharap siya sa core. Ito yung core. Kailangan open siya sa core. Hindi pwede na hindi siya naka-open sa core. Kasi pag hindi siya naka-open sa core, hindi siya pwedeng maging delta. Number 2 rules, when there is a choice between a bifurcation and another type of delta, the bifurcation is selected. So, eto na kung meron daw ibang kasama yung bifurcation na ridges na malapit sa divergence, pipiliin daw natin yung bifurcation. Ito, yung bifurcation. O as a rule number 2, kapag may kasamang ridges na nabuo doon sa type lines, ang pipiliin daw is yung bifurcation. Kasi siya yung priority as delta. So, yung nabuo sa type lines dito is a dot and a bifurcation. Ito yung type lines. So, yung pipiliin na delta is a bifurcation. Next rule, when there are two or more possible delta, which conform to the definition, the one nearest to the core is chosen. So, kung marami naman daw bifurcation na nabuo doon sa type line, sino daw ang magiging delta? So, ang sabi dito, the one nearest to the core. So, eto sila is a bifurcation. Bifurcation 1 and bifurcation 2. So, yung pipiliin daw na delta is yung pinakamalapit sa core. Kung sino yung pinakamalapit sa core na bifurcation, siya yung magiging delta. So, yung pinakamalapit ay yung CD. Eto siya. So, eto ngayon yung magiging delta natin. Number 4 na rules. So, sabi dito sa rule number 4, the delta may not be located in the middle of the ridge running. So, ito yung ridge running. Hindi daw pwedeng ilagay yung delta sa centers, middle between the type lines and the core. So, hindi pwedeng nasa middle ng running ridge yung delta. Dapat daw nasa nearer end only. So, dito natin ilalagay yung delta natin. So, yan yung delta. Tapos na tayo kay delta. Ngayon naman ay kay core formation. So, yung core formation, this is a point in ridge formation usually located the center or heart of pattern. Kung may rules yung pag-locate sa delta, mayroon din namang rules yung pag-locate kay core. Yung unang rules in locating the core is placed upon or within the innermost supation curve. So, sabi dito sa rule number 1 in locating the core, yung core daw ay ilalagay natin doon sa pinaka-innermost supation curve. So, dito, yung pinaka-innermost supation curve is ito siya. So, yung nasa loob niya within the innermost supation curve is a rod or a bar. So, siya daw yung magiging core. Okay, yung rule number 2. Kung yung innermost supation curve daw ay walang ridge ending or rod rising as a high of the shoulder of the loop. Kung wala daw rod dito sa loob ng supation curve na kasing taas ng shoulder, yung magiging core daw is yung shoulder of a loop farther from the delta. So, eto yung magiging core natin. Farther from the delta. Hindi siya pwede dito kasi closer siya from the delta. Kailangan farther from the delta. Dito dapat ilalagay yung core sa may shoulder ng loop. So, yan yung rule number 2. Number 3, when the innermost supation curve contains an uneven numbers of rods na kasing taas ng shoulder, the core is placed upon the end of the center rod whether it touches the looping ridge or not. Kung yung innermost supation curve daw, eto yung innermost supation curves, ay mayroong uneven numbers na rod na kasing taas ng shoulder, eto siya, tatlo. Yung uneven numbers of rod na kasing taas ng shoulder. So, yung magiging core daw is kung saan yung center, pinaka-center ng tatlong rod, yun ang magiging core. So, eto yung pinaka-center ng rod. So, siya yung magiging core natin. Another example, kapag 5 rods yung nasa loob ng sufficient recurve, hanapin lang yung pinaka-center na rod at yan yung magiging core natin. O yan yung nasa center, siya yung magiging core. Number 4 rule, when the innermost sufficient recurves contains an even number of a rod rising as high as the shoulder. So, kung yung rule number 3, merong uneven numbers, yung sa rule number 4, even numbers naman siya. Yung mga even numbers na rods ay nasa loob ng sufficient recurves. So, yung gagawin, the core is placed upon the end of the farther one of the two center rods. So, the two center rods being treated as though they were connected by a recurving bridge. Yung gagawin daw kapag uneven number yung nasa loob ng sufficient recurve or yung loop pattern, halimbawa dalawa, eto, two rods yung nasa loob ng sufficient recurves. So, yung gagawin, yung dalawang center rods ay i-treat natin na So, yung dalawang rods ay i-treat natin na connected sila by a recurving bridge. So, maglalagay tayo ng connecting ridge sa dalawang rod. Yung gagawin is, gagawa ng connecting ridge. So, connected na yung dalawang rod. So, magiging isa na sila. And then, after na-connect na natin yung dalawang rod, the core is placed upon the end of the farther one of the two center rods. So, dito siya, farther one of the center rods. Siya yung magiging core. Another example, ito siya is core, yung rod na nasa loob ng sufficient recurve. Sufficient recurve, 4 yung rod. So, yung gagawin, hahanapin yung pinaka-center, yung dalawang pinaka-center na rod. So, eto yung dalawang pinaka-center na rod. I-connect daw natin sila na magiging isa. Core is placed upon the end of the farther one of the two center rods. So yan yung So, eto yung magiging core. So, yan yung rule number 4. The recurve must have no appendage abutting upon it at the right angle between the shoulder. At daw yung recurve o yung sufficient recurve, walang appendage abutting it the right angle. So, yung pinaka-innermost sufficient recurve natin is dapat eto siya. Ang problema, merong appendage na nag-abat sa loob ng innermost sufficient recurve. So, kapag merong appendage na nasa loob ng shoulder of a loop, so that loop is considered spoiled. So, hindi na siya pwede dahil sira na yung loop pattern o yung sufficient recurve dahil sa appendage na nag-abat sa kanya. So, yung gagawin, the next loop outside will be considered to locate the core. Yung next sa kanya is eto siya. Yung next loop will be considered to locate the core. So, dito tayo mag-locate ang core. So, yung core natin is dito dapat ilagay. Kasi, farther from the delta. Yan yung nakalagay sa rule number 2. Kung sufficient recurve lang yung nasa loob o pinaka-center, yung core ay ilalagay natin sa farther from the delta. Yan yung rule number 5 kapag merong nag-abat na appendage sa isang supation recurves. Ito yung gagamitin niyo na rule. Another example, yung supation recurve na ridge ay eto siya. Supation recurve na loop pattern. Ang problema, merong nag-abat na appendage. So, yung gagawin natin, kasi hindi na pwede itong pinaka-supation recurve kasi nasira dahil sa appendage na nag-abat sa kanya. So, yung next na supation recurve, yung pipiliin natin sa paghahanap ng core. So, eto yung next na supation recurve na hanapan natin ng core. So, dito yung core. And another example, so makikita nyo sa image, yung pinaka-innermost supation recurve ay eto siya, yung pinaka-innermost supation recurve. Ang problema, may nag-abat. So, hindi na siya pwede, nasira na, na-spoiled na siya. Kasi mayroong nag-abat na appendage. Yung next, dapat na supation recurve ang susunod. Yung next sa kanya, outside sa kanya. So, ang next na supation recurve is eto na siya. Ang problema, may nag-abat na naman, may appendage na nag-abat doon sa next na supation recurves. Ito yung nag-abat. So, ang next na gagawin is yung next na naman sa kanya na supation recurve. Ito yung next sa kanya na supation recurve. So, yung gagawin natin, dito natin hahanapin yung core. Yan yung core. Dito nakalagay kasi farther from the delta. 6 for interlocking loops at the center. So, merong dalawang loop na nag-interlock sa loob ng supation recurve or center ng loop pattern. Yung dalawang loop are considered as one. So, yung dalawang loop is considered as one. So, gagawa tayo ng connecting ridge para maging isa yung dalawang loop. So, naging isa na sila with one rod. So, yung nasa loob ng supation recurve na naging isa ay yan yung rod. Ito yung magiging rod natin. Yan yung one rod. The core is located at the point of intersection when the shoulder line is drawn. So, yung core natin is located doon sa point of intersection. Point of intersection na tinamahan ng shoulder line. So, ito yung shoulder line. Yan yung shoulder line. So, tinamaan yung point of intersection ng shoulder line. So, yung magiging core, yung point of intersection. Siya yung magiging core. Okay, rule number 7. Ito, when the shoulder line, ito yung shoulder line, is above or below the point of intersection of two loops. So, etong halimbawa na nandito ay above yung point of intersection ng dalawang loop. Ito yung point of intersection nila. So, yung shoulder line nandito sa baba ng point of intersection. So, yung gagawin natin, the two are considered as one. So, gagawin natin isa yung dalawang loop na nag-intersect through the connecting ridge. Magiging isa na sila. And mayroon siyang dalawang rods. So, assuming na dalawa na daw yung rods na nasa loob ng supation recurve. Dalawa na. Yung gagawin natin para mahanap natin yung core, di ba pag even numbers yung nasa loob ng supation recurves, yung gagawin is gagawa tayo ng supation recurve or connecting ridge para maging isa yung dalawang rod. Yun din yung gagawin natin dito. Gagawa tayo ng connecting ridge para maging isa yung dalawang rod. And then yung core is eto na siya. Yan na yung core. So yan na yung halimbawa ng rule number 7. Another example, yung shoulder line ay nasa taas ng point of intersection ng loop. Ito yung point of intersection ng dalawang loop. So yung shoulder line nasa taas ng point of intersection. Meron ng dalawang rod. Rule number 8, when two loops are at the center, the two are treated as one with two rods. Kung yung dalawang loop daw ay nasa center, hindi sila nagka-connect o intersect. Yan yung dalawang loop na nasa center ng supation tricorp. So, the two are treated as one. Same pa rin yung gagawin, gagawa ng connecting ridge para maging isa yung dalawang loop na nasa center ng supation tricorp. After makonect na yung dalawang loop na maging isa, yung next na gagawin is yung rod. So, dalawa yung rod. Ito yung isang rod at ito naman yung isang rod. So, yung gagawin natin after ma-identify natin yung rod, gagawa na naman tayo ng connecting ridge para magka-connect yung dalawang rod. And then yung core is farther from the delta. Yan na yung magiging core. Alam nyo na kung paano i-locate yung delta. Alam nyo naman kung paano i-locate yung core. Ngayon naman is proceed tayo sa ridge counting.